doubt that anywhere in the world where democracy is being practiced as government of the people, by the people, and for the people, the main process of achieving that is through elections. Yes, elections. And that is where and how people have their own rights. Fundamental human rights at that. There's nothing anybody can do about that because it has come to stay as the best system of government anywhere in the world. And as we have it today, democracy is everywhere. And not only that, when we talk about democracy, we talk about the dividends of democracy, but that's not where we are going. Let's talk about that elections now as the pivot of what we call democracy. So that takes us to Ondo decides. Today, Ondo states, as they're having their electoral process today to elect their governor. We have Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, the incumbent governor, recontesting. We have Mr. Itayo Jegede contesting under the umbrella of People's Democratic Party, PDP, and some other contestants like that. So there's still lots to talk about. In fact, having talked about that one, we are still delving into the issue of other electoral capabilities or capacities where, talking about the councillorship, the chairmanship, the representatives, the senatorial, and every other elections like that. But before we go there, I am not going to be in the studio all alone. We have our regular guest on the show. I will introduce him after this time out. But this show is the platform on Moyinnet TV. So to enjoy more of our interesting program, kindly subscribe to Moyinnet TV on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. So I will be introducing Barrister Paul Ajiroba, a barrister at that, a public analyst, a philanthropist, and a very strong activist. His analogy when it comes to politics is very superb, updated, and intellectual. Barrister Paul Ajiroba, you're welcome to the studio.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me once again. I greet my fellow Nigerians that have been listening to this program.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Before we start our questions, I am Ayinla Kolawole Abass, the legend, with Barrister Paul Ajiroba right here. Barrister, today, Ondo people are deciding who becomes their governor. We have the incumbent governor, Mr. Rotimi Akeredolu, and of course we also have Mr. Itayo Jegede. They are both senior advocate of Nigeria, and the other one, senior advocate of Nigeria. What can you actually say about that kind of election that has senior advocates, contesting against each other?
Thank you very much. It shows that to a certain extent our democracy is growing. Don't forget that this same persons contested in 2016 as well.
Yeah.
Under the platform PDP.
Oh, PDP.
But by virtue of the likes of we have this faction in PDP in 2016. It caused a lot of things for the entire Jegede by losing the election. But that's not even the point this time around. To scenario with of Nigeria, it shows that it will be a little bit competitive. Not a little bit, competitive. It's like two lawyers are in court. A will not agree for B, B will not agree for A. So it's now the judge that will determine this direction you should go. The same thing on those polls now. So that thinking that you just go scot free, one person, we are that's what I've been arguing on, that our democracy should be highly competitive.
Should be highly competitive.
Yes. If people are just seeing vote on a platter of good, the people will take it for granted, and people today will be the judge.
Yes.
The two senior advocates of Nigeria, Agbola Jaitu, he is a lawyer as well. So the two senior advocates of Nigeria that are the leading candidates, the two leading candidates, it's today that people will judge that we should lead them.
Yeah.
So I've said times to that number. Even to the so-called world level election that we know as councillorship election, there must be competition. Because that is when the so-called leaders elected, they will put on their toes. The idea of I have first term, let me have the automatic second term. It should not be the so-called determining factor for the election. Do you perform? That's what we should be thinking about.
It should be based on performance.
It should be based on performance. It should. It should be based on performance. And that's why I salute the College of Retired Jegede coming back again on the same platform.
PDP.
Yes, on the same platform as well. Then his deputy, that's Ajayi Agbola, Zen Labour Party. It has followers a lot in the so-called Ondo State. So it shows that the politics now is about you work hard, you get the loyalty of the people. You don't work hard, people will frustrate you out of the system. Yeah, in other words, human beings are an asset when it comes to politics. And at the same time, they can turn to liability. The people that gives you the support today, and you fail them, 4 years to come, they will turn around and say, no, you are not fit for the position any longer. And that's how democracy should be.
Can we actually say democracy is now taking a new shape in Nigeria now? Because in 1999, that's when we experienced another batch of democratic period. If I could remember very well, when President, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo became the president, and he left. So many others came in after him. After Yaradua, Jonathan. Now we have Buhari since then. So can we actually say that democracy is advancing gradually, or in one way or the other we are beginning to be democratic as a nation?
I would like to say at this junction that in terms of political consciousness, we are improving. Mind that word, political consciousness, we are improving. But in terms of using democracy to develop our constituency, we are not. So, unlike before, when democracy in 1999, 2003 or 2000, you see that majority of governors then that were that won the election the first time, majority returned.
Yes.
But now in our dispensation, it's not like that any longer. Even if you are not careful at primary, you can lose. It's hard to see then at primary you losing governorship tickets, not going to the polls. But now you can see that governorship now are even losing in the primaries. For you to know that if you don't work hard, you will lose people's confidence. You will lose your supporters' confidence. If you don't perform, you will lose the democratic value imposed on you by the people. And the area of I believe that rigging will work. It's no longer there again if you don't perform.
Yes.
It's only rigging I rely on. Even if they vote for me, I will rig and I will find my way. Look at what happened in Oyo State.
Oyo is a very good case.
Incumbency was defeated. Look at what happened in Oyo State.
Can we even that will take us to recently we had the global elections in Edo State, and today we're having that of Ondo State. Any similarity or difference between the two?
Yes, there are similarities between the two. In the sense that it's occupancy that is before it's hard for you to see a very tight competition between an opposition and occupancy. But the system is now changing.
The system is now changing.
It's changing. Now in Edo voted not because Obaseki is the best, but they just want them to know that godfatherism should not be encouraged. Yes, it's not that Obaseki has done anything spectacular than Oshomole, but the truth is that it should not be encouraged. God for that reason.
So they use that election
That
to correct
yes,
the notion.
the 4 years you have to spend in office is determined by the common man on the streets. They just want the whole world to know that. And if Ondo is not careful as well, similar thing may happen.
If Ondo is not careful.
Yes, if they don't see performance, similar thing may happen.
Looks like the discussion is fast getting interesting. That is, most of the elections we have in Nigeria today is just being meant to correct the notion that godfatherism should not be encouraged in our political system. You are still with us on the platform. To enjoy more of our interesting programs, kindly subscribe to Moyinnet TV on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll be right back after this time out. You're welcome back to the show, the platform. And we are still here with Barrister Paul Ajiroba. Barrister, it's like when we're going through the update of Ondo elections, we discover that we have a particular incident of one person stabbing the other at the polling zone. Can we actually say that we still have electoral violence or something?
Yeah, we still have. Truly speaking, there is no election that is violence free or that is 100% perfect. It's only when we want to, even in the so-called developed nation.
Countries.
But as in this country, it's just at the extreme. Extreme. So you do or die affair. You stab, overvoting, ballot snatching. Now we don't even have much of ballot snatching now.
Yes.
Either for you to snap ballot and you be killed instantly. I know that the voters will run after you and kill you. They would rather give money what we call vote buying.
Vote buying.
That's what we have now. That we vote buying.
Vote buying.
So vote for this and collect semo. Vote for this
like
collect 2,000
part
naira.
of the update, we even saw it that they said some political parties, maybe needless to mention names of parties now, that they were involved in vote buying. As we speak today in Ondo elections, that they are still giving people token to vote for them or something. So does that suggest that we are going backward in our electoral process, or is it as a result of impoverishing the people so that they'll be left with nothing than to beg for token from the politicians?
I've said it earlier on this platform that you see the problem of our electoral process is not only the electoral umpire, it's not even only the candidate, it's even the so-called electorate. Because our mentality has been stigmatized to an extent that before I can cast my vote for you, I must get something. Because you know that after the election, for you to be accessible is not possible. If it is bread, I will get. If it is semo, if it is ankara,
Let me get what I want to get.
Let me get one. So people have said, so our mentality have been stigmatized to give and shall be given unto you back. It's not a function that I'll just vote for the best of credibility. So that's what most parties are now saying and candidate that if you don't give these people what they want, they will vote. Regardless of the campaign, regardless of the manifesto. So that's the way the system is structured, or that's the way the mentality of people has been stigmatized.
So, Barrister, quickly, whose fault is it now? The electorate or the politicians?
To me, I would say it's the electorate.
Okay, why?
Until we start saying, I will refuse that 2,000 naira.
Okay.
I will refuse that 5,000 naira. I will refuse that bag of semo. I will refuse that ankara. The less for this person is the only one that can make changes. That is when our democracy will start having value.
That is to say, these days, the electoral process shouldn't be a matter of give and take. it should be a sort of social contract, the agreement between the electorates and our politicians, the leaders, that is saying this is what they have to give to the electorate in terms of dividends of democracy. But when there are no dividends, that is when people go as far as wanting rice, bread, ankara, this and that, just to cast a single vote. But Barrister, as we have it today, let me quickly talk about Ondo State. Can you say, when we take a look at the performance of the incumbent governor, something might want to be positive or the other way around based on performance? You know, it's been there for the past 4 years now. And today, they are deciding either it's leaving office or it continues. So, if we are going to judge from his performance, what do you think?
You see, I don't think I will be in the best position to say whether Governor Rotimi Akeredolu performed or not. It's the people of Ondo or people that are residents in Ondo State that can be of the best, and to judge that what is the level of performance, what are you expecting? Is it in terms of infrastructure? Is it in terms of employment? Is it in terms of agriculture?
Education.
Is it in terms of
Education.
And those are the things that will determine whether it performed or not. But whether it performed or not will be determined today. Well, let me tell you something. There is a saying in Yoruba that lies can go for 20 years, but just a day,
just one
the
day.
truth. I said that we are not getting to a level that politically, democratically, we are now desensitized. So whether you perform or you can, and Nigerians, we are very good at something. History. What you promise us, do you do it within the space of 4 years? We don't want to hear that it's the previous government that caused this thing. So the performance of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu, I may not want to, I will not be in the best position to say that he has performed. It is people that will say that he has performed. Is it? Yes.
Through
yes. And one thing about Nigeria is that you cannot force us to do anything that we don't want to do.
Yes.
People want you, you'll be voted for. People doesn't want you, you'll not be voted for. So that's the situation on which Governor Rotimi, and it should serve as a signal to all elected officers. Whether I'm a president, I'm a governor, I'm a rep member, I'm a senator, I'm even House of Assembly member, whether I'm a councillor or chairman, it should be a signal that the level we are going to in this country now is people voting for personality based on your performance.
Not based on political party.
Not based on political party. Look at Edo. If this party they are after, the moment Obaseki decamped, they will not vote for Obaseki in that way. And look at the margin.
But they still follow the
even in 2016, the margin between Izeyamu and Obaseki was 60,000 plus. But when I checked this 2009 and 20 election, the margin between them was 80,000. 80,000.
Figure increased.
Increased. For you to know that people even really have confidence in Obaseki, not by virtue of the party, but by virtue of his performance.
Welcome back to the show, The Platform. And we'll be talking about, it has to do with social contract. Democracy is now getting advanced to the extent of, that is, people, they really know who they want in power now. So it's like, it's no longer the days of easily canvassing people to come and vote for you. That is, it's now based on performance. I think that's what you were saying when you were relating the Edo State election in 2016 and in 2020. Yes. So now, as we have it, What do you think can actually be the aftermath of Ondo election today?
I cannot really say.
Okay.
But what will be the determining factor is the level of performance. Do you know the way Nigerians vote?
Yeah.
If you win in an election, you yourself will know. And if you not win, you yourself will know. Just take it, it's like a business. Just take a feasibility study of people's level of performance, your people level of ideology, and your level of confidence in you. When you are popular, anywhere you go unannounced, once it sights you, people will start rushing after you.
When you are popular.
When you are popular. When you are popular. When you are popular, the moment people hears your name and if there is an antagonist, there it's more possible that chaos will happen because you are popular.
Because you're popular.
Because you are popular.
But what can you actually say makes people?
To convince Nigerians is very easy.
That's another point.
Just give them a sense of belonging. You have your way.
Okay, I still want to relay that question. You're talking about popularity of a politician now. Everybody understands. But I want to think there are two ways of being popular as a politician. I don't know if I see how to puncture that further. Then, for instance, okay, let me cite an instance. The likes of Awolowo in the history of Nigeria. I think even after our own generation, they will still keep talking about. I even read a book. It has become a sort of Awoism. You understand? That is the study of Awolowo himself. So that maybe Awology or something. So they've become a kind of history on their own. That's another system of being popular. But we still have another one. There are some leaders we've had, even in Africa, in Nigeria, that today they still refer them to the era of, aristocracy, autocracy, and all this system of government. So, how do politicians get popular, good or bad? Or you can only be popular when you are a good politician?
When I am talking about popularity is when you are good. When you are good as a politician and you have served the people based on expectation, and even the common man on the street, you give him a sense of belonging, your popularity cannot be raised. You know there is a difference between the party makes you popular and you as a personality, you are popular on your own. There are some politicians in this country, even if they defect to a registered party in INEC today, they defect after 1 hour. The way people will defect to their own side is very much.
Yeah.
Because they have built a kind. That's what we call popularity. And you didn't see the days of our world. What they sell most to convince people is ideology. You know, then it's regional governments that we have.
Yes.
Yes. In the western region, what can we use to finance ourselves? We have cocoa.
Yes.
And some other things. What can we use this cocoa for? And how can our people really benefit from it? They have that. From there, free education. From there, a media, this NTA Ibadan. University of Ibadan.
Africa.
The first TV, yes. So they use ideology. But now, what most politicians are using now is what we call stomach infrastructure. I'll back to what I have been saying, that I was saying the other time. The issue of, if I don't see Semo, I don't vote. But we should copy the likes of Awos, the foundational members of politics in this country.
Quickly, Barrister, maybe before I forgot. You said something the other time that, stomach infrastructure. If I don't see money, I won't vote. Or if I don't see Semo, bread. I've even been to a police zone whereby they were approaching people on the queue back then, and they give them a nylon. I don't know what they have in the nylon, and they give them some token amount. And later, I got to see that they were having jollof rice with meat in all these disposable plates. What do you think we can do to curb this menace, which we believe is a big damage on Nigerian democracy?
The only solution to it is once we are given power, what belongs to the people, give it to them.
Give it to them.
Let people be well fed. The tax people are paying, let there be good roads. Where will an electorate be taken that after spending 4 years, you want another election? That if I don't collect 5,000, I'm not voting. It's because he have said that within that 4 years, no good roads. Within that 4 years, no good medical facilities. Within that 4 years, nothing good. So when it comes, you say, this is the only time I can assess you. After this, I must collect my 5,000 naira today. After this, enough 4 years again, you are unaccessible. So people should be well fed. People should benefit from democratic process. They must benefit from it. That is how we can stop all these things. You see, religious aspects cannot stop it. That's just the truth. It's when I have good roads, I'm coming. We have good security. That's 12 a.m., 11 p.m. I can walk on the road. We have employment. Our youth are employed.
Definitely.
The old people, they have a good thing to write home about. That is why people will not be thinking that if they do it more, because the level of poverty in Nigeria is too much.
Can we actually?
So every opportunity we see, we utilize it. There was an election that that polling unit, a political party created what we call akara joint. Before you vote, you can eat akara. And after you vote, you can eat akara. So that shows that even our leaders knows that the level of poverty in this country, poverty itself is even fearing the level of poverty in this country. So that's the only solution. That's only that people should be well fed. People should have a sense of belonging. Otherwise, we'll continue in this manner. We'll continue in this manner.
That is a situation whereby during election, a political party can create akara joint, and once you vote, you take akara. Nigerians, what do you suggest? Electorates, what do you suggest? Politicians, what do you suggest? World leaders, African leaders, Nigerian leaders, what do you suggest? Creating akara joint in 2020, this modern age. I don't know if I'm correct, but Mr. does that suggest the level of poverty and the level of hunger in the country? This is the platform on Moyinnet TV. We'll be right back after this time out. You're welcome back to the show, the platform on Moyinnet TV. So, we stopped by talking about the Amala politics, Akara politics, and it states, I saw that they distributed Ludo game, bedroom sleepers, and another state, we have wraps of eba, egusi soup, rice, takeaway. I don't know. Maybe I will even leave it to the barrister to tell us about his own experience about stomach infrastructure when it comes to electoral process in Nigeria. So, Abass, what else have you seen aside the ones I've mentioned? Because I've seen that of Ludo game to the electorate just because they want them to vote and all other ridiculous things.
We know of so many. There's even an election in which rice was given in a disposable, 500 naira. The 500 naira is for your transport. When will we stop all this, let me say, nonsense, rubbish? When will we stop it? And it's because people are not seeing the dividend of democracy. That's why they are saying, let me get what I want now, and let's forget.
But come to think of it, to the electorate, if, for instance, if I'm given a plate of rice with 500 naira on that plate of rice, does that mean that is enough for me to survive for the next 4 years? Is that enough? I mean, let's even ask ourselves, Nigerians. A plate of rice with 500 naira, even with 5,000 or 10,000 naira, does that mean that is enough for me to survive for the next 4 years if I voted for someone that I know does not have anything to offer? That is a big question that we're going to leave to the hands of Nigerians. But maybe I would like to ask you again, do you think there are some things we are supposed to be doing which we are not doing?
There are so many, not some things. There are so many.
Like?
We are lacking behind, and the problem of this country is first lack of foresight and corruption.
Foresight.
Yeah, our very self and South Korea, we got independence the same year, but we are at the same level now.
We are not.
I was interviewing a radio station. They said, "Are we better than South Korea?" I said, "Yes, in just in only one area." And they asked me, "What's there?" I said, "It's corruption."
That is corruption.
Yes, that's where we are better than. Look at the level of technology, level of intelligence, level of development. There's nothing we can handle in this country that we handle it effectively. Educational sector, zero. The political sector, a lot of complaints. Even judiciary, we have a lot of challenges. Engineering sector, a lot of challenges. Medical sector, a lot of challenges. Infrastructure, telecommunication, sports.
There are lots of areas.
It is very even bad to us that in Nigeria, the most closest aspect of it that makes people happy is sports.
Yes.
We don't even know, we don't even watch our own football. Let me ask you, how many Kwarans go to stadium to go and watch Kwara United? But we can pay 15 naira, 100 naira at view centers to watch Chelsea. So in everything, virtually we are backward. We are backward in everything.
Eventually, what do you now suggest is the way out?
You see, what I suggest is that the first problem we have in this country is being too religious and tribalism. I've said times with that number. You know, there's a difference between knowing God and being religious. They are two different things.
In fact,
go and see any country that developed, they are not religious.
We will even leave that for that's a whole very wide concept to be discussed. In fact, we are going to leave that for another day when we are going to be talking about maybe bringing religion into politics, tribes into politics, tribalism. But that is not to say that we've not actually enjoyed our own guests on the show, the platform. We've talked about a lot, especially stomach infrastructure. That is, in this country, when are we actually going to go beyond the thinking of let me vote for some cash, let me vote for a plate of rice, let me vote so I can get just a Ludo game, let me vote so I can get bedroom slippers, all these sort of ridiculous things. Those things, the question is, are they enough for us to survive between now and the next 4 years? That is, the votes belong to us. It is our power. We have the right and the power to elect whosoever we want in our democratic process. So it's been a nice time with Barrister Paul Ajiroba. You're welcome.
Thank you for inviting me.
You've always been a friend of this show.
Thank you for inviting me, and I'm open to further invitations as well. And I pray that the management of this great organization, this great company, God will continually uplift the management.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thanks so much. So the show is the platform on Moyinnet TV. To enjoy more of our interesting programs, kindly subscribe to Moyinnet TV on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I am Ayinla Kolawole Abass, popularly known as the legend. The man behind the camera is Template. We see you after this time out on the platform. I love you, my people. Much respect. I love you, Nigerians.